Start?
That's a great question, because I know a lot of you guys are interested in voice acting yourselves. She asked me how it started. Quite by accident. This is the part where I give all the credit to God, because I didn't plan it. I didn't plan it. I didn't seek it out. I didn't, beat the pavement and bang on doors to get in. I had just been acting since I was very young, probably like her age. And doing any kind of acting I could, whether it was church programs or school programs, school plays, or community theater, any place I could perform, and was developing those skills. And then I got into high school and college, and I minored in theater in college, and just kept acting and acting and acting. And it was something I always loved, but I never really thought anything would ever come of it. My degree is in film, actually. So I do a lot of shooting and editing and directing and that kind of stuff, the production side of film as well. But the acting was something I always loved doing, and I never really thought about it, but any chance I could do to act, I did. Well, about 12 or 13 years ago, I was working on a video production in Houston, Texas, with a guy, and he said to me, "You have a lot of experience in acting, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I've done a lot of theater and stuff like that." And he said, "You ought to go and audition for this place in town called ADV Films." He said they buy these Japanese animated shows and they dub them into English, and they need actors. And I was like, really? In Houston? You traditionally think of something like that as LA or New York or something, right? I'm like, really? You mean like Speed Racer and stuff? Because I loved Speed Racer when I was a little boy. And I didn't even know it was anime. I just knew it was different. You know what I mean? It was drawn differently, the voices were different, and it just had a different feel to it. It was very different from Scooby-Doo or any of the other, Bugs Bunny Western animation. I had no idea it was anime. Kimba the White Lion, loved it. Had no idea why it looked different. Why does this lion have these big, beautiful eyes? I just didn't understand. But he said, yeah, like that kind of stuff. So I went and auditioned. And I got cast. They were recording Street Fighter 2, and I played Vega. I got cast as Vega in Street Fighter 2, and I did it, and it was so weird. You guys know that? You guys know Vega or know Street Fighter 2? Yeah. So I did it, and I thought, well, that was fun. And then they called me a few weeks later and said, we've got this other show. I don't even remember what it was. It was like maybe Martian Successor Nadesco, or Gasaraki, I can't remember, but they were doing something, and like, we want you to come back and play a role. I'm like, really? Okay, sure. I didn't even know what I got paid. It didn't even matter. It was just fun, I mean, who gets to do stuff like that? So I did that one, and then another show came, and they cast me in that one. And then another show, and another show, and another show. And the next thing I knew, I had done probably 15 or 20 different series. And you know what? Even then, I had no idea what they did with them when they finished them. Like, did they sell them? I don't even know. And next thing I knew, somebody invited me to go to a convention. And I was like, what? There's a convention for this stuff? And I went to it. Now, remember, when I was little, I was in Star Trek conventions, dressed in my Captain Kirk, homemade Captain Kirk uniform. I mean, I knew conventions, but I didn't know there were anime conventions. So they invite me to be a guest at one. So I go, and I sat at this table, and I was absolutely blown away that these kids would show up with, like, posters of characters I played, and action figures and wall scrolls, and I was like, this is crazy, I didn't even know this stuff existed. And I started getting invited to more conventions. And you guys, this is when they were very small, and not as many as there are now. And I was at a convention, and I met some people from Funimation in Dallas. And they said, hey, you're in Houston, right? I said, yeah. And they said, you want to come up and do something for us? I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't ask them how much it paid. I was just like, okay, that sounds fun. And they called me, and I went up there, and I did Broly. First thing I did for them, and then I did Yu Yu Hakusho. Then Case Closed, and Spiral, and Kitty Grade, and then suddenly Funimation gets Full Metal Alchemist. And I auditioned for that, and I got cast in that, and so I'm working in Houston, and working in Dallas, and Now I've got 60 or 70 or 80 shows under my belt. And then I go to a convention and meet people from Los Angeles. And they're like, hey, dude, you should come out here and do some stuff, man. I mean, we would love to have you. I'm like, really? Okay. So I started going out there and recording like video games, Persona, Soul Calibur, Disgaea, you know, whatever. And then they cast me like in Bleach and Kakaishi and Naruto. Those things are all recorded out there. Vampire Knight. I know, right? I would love me some Zero. Yeah. But and so that's my career. So you see why I give God credit, right? Because I had no clue any of this would happen. So I'm in this room probably the most grateful person and blessed for the opportunity to do what I do, because I love it to death. That's the coolest headpiece ever!